The fries in your hand, the mashed potatoes on your plate, the golden roasted potatoes in the oven, this unassuming tuber has long woven itself into our daily lives. Yet few realize it was once a secret weapon that reshaped Europe's destiny. 500 years ago, it emerged from the mist-shrouded Andean mountains of South America, sailing across the ocean on the ships of Spanish conquerors to spark a silent revolution on the European continent. With its high yield, it fed hundreds of millions, supplying labor for the Industrial Revolution and even scripting the rise and fall of nations amid famines and wars. Today, let's trace the footsteps of this underground apple to uncover a forgotten legend of civilization. Without it, Ireland's population might not have doubled in 60 years. Without it, Prussia may not have survived the Great Famine of 1740. Some even say the steam engines of the Industrial Revolution might have fired up half a century later. This is the story of the potato, a chapter of modern European history written with tubers. Today, let's uncover this 5-century-old legend of civilization. The potato, now a staple in global diets, traces its origins back thousands of years to the Andean mountains of South America. Archaeological evidence shows that as early as 2000 BCE, indigenous peoples in the Andean region spanning modern-day Peru and Bolivia had begun domesticating and cultivating this crop. In this high-altitude, climatically diverse landscape, the potato's resilience and reliable yield made it a cornerstone of Inca civilization. The Incas not only mastered its cultivation but developed innovative preservation and cooking methods, like chuno, a freeze-dried dehydrated potato created through repeated freezing and sun-drying, lasting for years. This enhanced their ability to withstand food shortages and cemented the potato's role in both agriculture and culture. In 1532, Spanish conquistador Francisco Pizarro conquered the Inca Empire, turning point that reshaped South American politics and launched the potato's transatlantic journey. As the Spanish plundered the empire's wealth, they took note of this odd, underground tuber. Initially brought to Europe as a novelty plant specimen for royalty and nobles, the potato began spreading along military supply routes as Spain's political and military activities expanded. For example, during the wars between Spain and the Netherlands, the Spanish road became a critical pathway for its dissemination. To feed their armies, potatoes were transported as military rations, and their ease of growth, long storage life, and tolerance for harsh conditions soon caught the eye of local farmers. Along these routes, peasants began cultivating potatoes discreetly as a survival crop. Though initial plantings were small, the seeds of its European journey had been sown. In 16th to 17th century Europe, the potato looked nothing like the staple we know today. Mainstream society saw it as an ornamental plant or a quirky crop for occasional medicinal use. This perception stemmed from its underground growth, radically different from Europe's traditional above-ground crops. With its tubers thriving in the dark earth, it sparked associations with demonic plants. Many feared eating it could bring misfortune or disease. In France, a widespread rumor claimed potatoes caused leprosy, making their adoption painfully slow. Farmers hesitated to plant them, consumers shied away from eating them, and the potato remained on the margins for decades. However, as scientific knowledge spread, Europe's view of the potato began to shift. In 1772, scientists at the Paris Medical College conducted experiments, analyzing its nutrients and testing it on humans, to prove its rich nutritional value, capable of providing essential energy and nutrients. This scientific validation started to dismantle prejudices, giving the potato a new reputation. In Sweden, nobleman Jonas Alströmer played a pivotal role in its promotion. In 1724, Alströmer became the first Swede to bravely eat potatoes he'd grown himself. He went further, demonstrating their versatility through innovative experiments, most famously, brewing alcohol from potatoes. This not only proved their utility as a brewing ingredient but opened new markets and uses. Through his example and advocacy, the potato gained acceptance in Sweden. People realized it could be transformed into foods and drinks, not just admired as a curiosity. Thanks to Alströmer, the Swedish name, potatis, was officially adopted, a symbol of its transition from obscurity to familiarity, laying the groundwork for its spread across Northern Europe. The potato's arrival revolutionized Europe's agricultural landscape, upending traditional farming patterns. Compared to native cereal crops, it offered unmatched yield advantages. Under the same conditions, its yield per unit area was 3 to 4 times that of wheat or barley. This high productivity meant it could feed far more people on limited land, providing the material foundation for Europe's population boom. What made the potato truly transformative was its resilience. It thrived in infertile soil, drawing on minimal nutrients through its vigorous root systems, turning previously unusable land into productive fields. In high-latitude regions with short growing seasons and cold climates, where traditional crops struggled, the potato became a lifeline. In Nordic countries like Sweden and Norway, it evolved into a staple crop, securing food supplies for local communities. In Ireland, its dominance was staggering. By 1845, 2 million acres of Irish farmland, nearly the entire cultivable area, were devoted to potatoes. It became the sole dietary pillar for the nation, supporting a population that swelled to around 8 million. Such rapid growth was only possible because the potato's yield and hardiness allowed Ireland to produce enough food on tiny plots to sustain its people. In France, despite initial resistance, the potato's rise was led by agronomist Antoine-Augustin Parmentier. He championed its virtues to both the royal court and the public, merging potato cultivation with French culinary traditions. By showcasing its versatility, from soups to bread, and coining the term underground apple, he made it culturally accessible. Royal endorsements, including nobles planting and eating potatoes publicly, turned the tide. As it spread, France saw a shift in agriculture, higher grain yields, diversified diets, and a more stable food system. The potato's widespread cultivation set off a ripple effect on Europe's economic structure, becoming a catalyst for growth and societal transformation. As its fields expanded and yield soared, Europe's food supply stabilized dramatically. Statistically, potato cultivation increased the continent's food security index by around 30%. This meant greater resilience against shortages caused by disasters or wars, laying a firm foundation for economic and social progress. Its impact on labor was equally profound. Before its arrival, cereal farming demanded intensive manual labor, tying rural populations to the land. The potato's high yield, however, freed surplus labor. Fewer acres were needed to feed the same number of people, releasing workers from the fields. These laborers flocked to cities, fueling the Industrial Revolution's workforce. In Britain, for example, rising potato cultivation coincided with a massive rural-to-urban migration. Between the 18th and 19th centuries, the urban population surged from around 20% to over 50%, a shift the potato helped make possible. By the early 1800s, Ireland's potato success story extended beyond self-sufficiency. It became a key food exporter. Sending tubers to Britain sustained the island's growing urban centers. Irish exports supplied 1/6 of England's food consumption, underscoring their pivotal role in Britain's supply chain. This trade not only boosted Britain's economy but deepened economic ties between the two nations. Prussia's 1740 famine starkly illustrated the potato's life-saving potential. When hunger decimated the population, Prussian government promoted this crop for its durability and yield. As a result, potato cultivation cut the famine's mortality rate by 40%, proving its power to safeguard lives and food security. Beyond survival, it fueled military ambitions. Reliable food supplies allowed Prussia to maintain a large army, giving it an edge in European conflicts. The potato marked a historic breakthrough in nutritional density, revolutionizing European diets. Per 100 grams, it packs 17 grams of carbohydrates, an energy-dense source fueling daily activity. While its 2 grams of protein may seem modest, these contain all essential amino acids, with a biological value of 73, impressively close to eggs' 96, making it a vital protein contributor. Rich in vitamin C, B6, and minerals, it supplies nutrients critical for bodily function. Notably, its vitamin C content, 20 to 30 milligrams per 100 grams, ranks among the highest in vegetables and staples. In 18th-century European armies, the potato's nutritional edge became a game-changer. A daily ration of 1.5 kilograms provided soldiers with nearly all essential nutrients. Its vitamin C content drove a roughly 60% drop in scurvy rates, a disease that had plagued armies for centuries. For soldiers marching long distances and enduring harsh battles, this meant fewer debilitating illnesses and sustained stamina. The potato offered a nutrient-dense, easily stored food source, directly boosting military readiness and survival in the field. The potato's contribution to Europe's population surge is evident in hard numbers. From 1700 to 1900, the continent's population exploded from 120 million to 420 million, and the potato was pivotal, accounting for roughly 25% of that growth. Nowhere was its impact sharper than in Ireland. In 1780, the island had 4 million people. By 1841, that soared to 8.17 million, doubling in just over 60 years. During this era, potatoes supplied 60% of the Irish daily calorie intake, their high yield and nutrition enabling the nation to feed more people on limited land, driving this unprecedented population boom. In France, potato cultivation also spurred growth. During the French Revolution, regions focused on potatoes saw a 15% higher population growth rate than wheat-growing areas. This revealed a simple truth: stable, abundant potato harvests provided consistent nutrition, fostering healthier communities. Wheat regions, constrained by climate and soil limits, lagged in both yield and population growth. The potato offered France a new agricultural frontier, reshaping both its farms and its demography. The Irish potato famine was a catastrophic event triggered by potato crop failure, laying bare the ecological risks of monocrop farming. Between 1845 and 1852, late blight ravaged Ireland, delivering a death blow to its potato-dependent agriculture. Statistics tell the story: a 75% crop failure, annihilating the island's primary food source. In 1845, 2 million acres of Irish soil were devoted to potatoes, staples for nearly every household. Then came the blight. Leaves developed water-soaked greenish spots, spreading into circular dark green lesions. In damp weather, a white mold ringed the edges. Tubers formed brown or purplish-brown irregular spots, rotting from within. Within weeks, the potato blight swept east to west across Ireland. Ireland's fatal flaw was genetic uniformity. The nation relied almost entirely on a single tetraploid variety from Chile, leaving its farms defenseless against disease. Without genetic diversity, the blight spread 3 times faster, a stark reminder of monocropping's fragility. Potatoes reproduce asexually, meaning identical genetic copies. Once one plant was infected, its clones carried the virus, putting entire regions at risk. Every potato variety in Ireland was susceptible to late blight. There was no genetic diversity to buffer the blow. This disaster was more than an Irish tragedy, it was a global wake-up call. It exposed the vulnerability of modern monoculture, warning that chasing high yields and profits must not come at the cost of ecological balance and biodiversity. Monocropping may promise short-term gains, but it leaves agriculture teetering on the edge of collapse when faced with pests, diseases, or climate shocks. The solution? Diversified farming. Planting multiple crops reduces risks, preserves soil health, and protects ecosystems, a lesson the potato itself taught us through both its gifts and its warnings. During the Irish potato famine, the British government's non-intervention policy exacerbated the disaster, exposing the destructive power of institutional failure in crises. At the famine's peak, Britain clung to laissez-faire economics, believing markets would self-regulate food supply. This meant almost no effective action. While Irish potatoes failed and families starved, the government refused to restrict exports. 4,000 ships of food continued to sail from Ireland to England. This drained the island of its already scarce resources, deepening the hunger crisis. Laissez-faire also crippled relief efforts. Relief distribution efficiency fell by 50%. Without coordination, food and supplies rarely reached those in need, leaving countless families to suffer and die from hunger and disease. The numbers tell the tale of neglect. Ireland's famine mortality rate was 3 times higher than India's contemporary famines. While Britain took modest steps in India, setting up relief stations, distributing grain, its inaction in Ireland allowed the catastrophe to spiral, costing far more lives. The famine's legacy shaped Ireland forever. It ignited the Irish independence movement. Rage and despair over British indifference fueled a surge in nationalist sentiment, driving the push for self-governance. It also redrew Atlantic migration maps. Around 2 million Irish people emigrated to the US, Canada, and Australia during the crisis, transforming those nations' demographics and cultures. Irish diaspora communities grew into powerful forces in politics, economics, and society, leaving an indelible mark on their adopted homelands. The Great Famine became a pivotal turning point in Irish history, one that propelled the journey toward independence and left a lasting imprint on global migration narratives. The potato's influence on global food culture runs deep, reshaping eating habits and becoming a cornerstone of modern fast food. Today, French fries are a universal fast food favorite. In the US, they account for 25% of total vegetable consumption. Found in fast food joints, supermarkets, and home kitchens alike, their popularity stems from craveable taste, convenience, and versatility. They work as a staple, side dish, or snack, fitting every dietary need. Beyond fries, potato derivatives like chips and mashed potatoes have become daily staples for 1.3 billion people worldwide. These products not only diversify diets but drive a massive industry. In some countries, potato processing is an economic backbone, creating millions of jobs. Culturally, the potato symbolizes humanity's resilience. In the Andes, the Potato Festival is a vital tradition. Communities gather to showcase 5,000+ varieties, sharing farming wisdom and recipes, a celebration of culinary heritage and communal bonds. In Gothenburg, Sweden, the Potato Eaters statue depicts a family sharing a meal, honoring the tuber's role in securing food security and weaving social ties. It's a living monument to history and a reminder of our symbiosis with nature. As you've seen, the potato's journey is a microcosm of human civilization, how we connect through exploration, adapt through need, and learn through crisis. It was the Incas' sacred tuber, Europe's lifeline, and today's universal ingredient. Next time you cut a potato, pause for a moment. This humble vegetable holds 500 years of history and the wisdom of humanity's partnership with nature. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to join us on more journeys through food and history. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.